everybody out there in social media land. This is Bruce coming at you from North Carolina. And this is kind of an update on a similar video that I did, I don't know, 6 months, 9 months ago or something like that. Anyhow, I'd start off with my foolish hat here. That's not to imply that I smoke a lot of pot. Okay, but I gotta confess, way back when I did imbibe a little bit, just a little bit of my story is when I was 35 and she was 20 and moved to Florida. To be perfectly transparent, for about 10 years it was sex, drugs, pot, booze, and rock and roll. Unfortunately, I've been clean and sober now, going on 28 years. So that's way back in my past. I just about ran a red light there. Anyhow, the story behind this, and it's got red and green in there, so it's got a little bit of the holiday spirit. I was in Panama a couple winters ago, visiting a friend in just a great little town. The name of it escapes me now. Up in the mountains, several hours from Panama City. Got there by bus. Double-decker bus, had the front seat on the top. Incredible view. Anyhow, my friend Susan saw this hat and she liked it and gave it to me. So, when it's cold sometimes, I wear it to cover up my bald head. And I get quite a few comments. Anyhow, who the heck is Bruce Deery? Well, if you asked me that question several years ago, several decades ago, I probably would have told you that I was a certified financial planner, and I probably would have bragged about the fact that I was number 7 out of 1,000 agents in my first year, and I probably would have bragged about my income, and probably would have bragged about the fact that I bought a new Eldorado every year, and I probably would have bragged about the $4,500 car telephone that was so big it had to go in my trunk. At that point in my life, material stuff was important to me. It was important to me to live in a 4-bedroom house with a swimming pool in the backyard in a nice suburb north of Boston. And, it was important to me to wear expensive suits and alligator shoes and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I look back at it now and I say, oh my God, Bruce, you were one sick puppy. And I was in retrospect. But thanks to the grace of God and AA, I'm not anymore. It just took me a lot of years to realize that, we have to have money, but we don't have to have a lot of money. I'm amazed on how little I can get by on comfortably. And as I frequently say, I still go to AA meetings. I frequently say I never dreamed at this point in my life that I would have the peace of mind, the serenity, and the relative financial security, but most importantly, the faith, trust, and belief in the God of my understanding. So with that little introduction, let me get around this corner here. I am on my way to Tennessee. It's my middle son's hopefully final day in court on Tuesday in a year-long divorce that's been costing him $5,000 to $6,000 a month in attorney's fees. You wouldn't even believe the story. She's a sociopath, and we'll go into the details, but his ex-wife is helping him. And his daughter's working for a production company, and Angela's her name. Angela's going to help him write a book, which they hope to turn into a movie. And if in fact that happen, it's going to be a bestseller for anybody that's going through a divorce, particularly a man going through a divorce. So with that being said, let me take off my marijuana hat, and let me put on something that's a little more seasonal. Which reminds me, a long, long time ago, I did a hat video. Actually, it was about why I love working in home-based business online. You know, whether it's in my pajamas or crazy hats or whatever. So I might just do a hat video. When I get around this corner, I'll put on my seasonal hat, which is a little more in the holiday spirit here. Okay. There we go. What's this here? Piece of paper. Okay. Now I'm in the spirit. Like I was saying, I was going to Tennessee. Hopefully the court hearing is only going to be one day, Tuesday. And then we're going to take off for, excuse me, about an hour north west of Johnson City, where the fire took place. And there's kind of a three-city area there that puts on a Winterfest and, you know, music and games and dancing and all kinds of holiday stuff. So I've never been to Gatlinburg before. Looking forward to it. I can't imagine what kind of damage we're going to see. But I'm planning to take a bunch of pictures and we'll spend 2.5 days there and then head back to North Carolina. Anyhow, getting back to the point of this video, alright, and I made some notes. You know, I've got an 1.5-hour drive here, so I decided this would be a good time to record a little video and introduce myself to some people and frankly disclose some of the things in my closet. And incidentally, the way of introduction, you know, before I got sober, I kept everything inside. I was anything but transparent. Anything but transparent. You know, today, yeah, there's some things that I'm not particularly proud of that happened back in my drinking days, but I really don't have anything to hide, and you know, I'm more than open to sharing it, frankly, in hopes that maybe it'll help somebody that may be going through a difficult time, whether it's alcohol or drugs or financial problems or divorce or bankruptcy or whatever. Because in retrospect, you know, once you reach a certain age, you kind of feel like, you know, you've got some things to share that may make a difference in somebody's life. And one of the things I frequently share is, you know, way back then, I kind of felt like Humpty Dumpty. You know, Humpty Dumpty sat in a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. Well, I kind of feel blessed because I believe that God put Humpty Dumpty back together again. So here goes. It was a long introduction, wasn't it? Oh, I'm in a good mood today. So who the heck is Bruce Deery? Well, this may sound a little corny to some of you, but I feel like I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. That's pretty heavy, huh? A spiritual being having a human experience. When I heard that, I said, hey, that's me. And it has been. I mean, the spiritual part of my life has been a gradual thing. It didn't happen, you know, overnight. It wasn't a burning bush experience or anything like that. So who am I today? Well, I'm a son of Robert and Lois Deery, who are upstairs now looking down upon me and my brothers. I'm a brother. I have 2 brothers. I have a middle brother, Roger. I have a younger brother, 6 years younger, Craig. Craig is just an outstanding dynamite guy. You wouldn't know it, but he's a multi-millionaire. And if you met him, he just is down to earth. He doesn't show off his money. He doesn't disclose his money. He's very humble about what he's accomplished in life, and he's kind of got the world by the gonads, if you know what I mean. Does a lot of travel, plays a lot of golf, does a lot of duck hunting. You know, goes to It's not Australia, but he begins to an A. He goes dove hunting over there with 7 or 8 friends. Got a house in Massachusetts. Got a house in Florida. But he's one of the most generous guys you'd ever meet. My brother Roger is a horse of another color, and I don't mean that negatively, because we're all 3 of us are very, very different. Roger's got a nice business in Florida. He's married to a sweetheart of a gal, Marion. Met her in Nantucket Island. She's born and raised in Nantucket. I'm not sure whether she's a CPA, but she's been with an accounting firm for years. And she's just a sweetheart. They have 2 children. Robin is one of the prettiest gals and the nicest gals you'd ever meet. Their wedding was the best party I've ever been to in my entire life. And their son Travis had some challenges when he was younger. In college, 1 or 2 DUIs and whatnot, and took him a little while to get his feet in the ground. He's got his feet on the ground now, and he's going to be marrying a really nice gal in April, and hopefully that's going to be a reunion where my 3 sons are going to be there, and the whole family. It's not very often the whole family gets together. So that's my 2 brothers. Okay, I'm also a father. I have 3 sons. Todd, Scott, and Cam. Todd, University of Hampshire. Not a suit and tie shirt guy. After a few years working in Connecticut, he went out to Hood River, Oregon to go windsurfing and never came back. One of the interesting things about Todd is he worked on the Bigfoot project for several years. He ended up taking over that project. That's for real. So he's got some interesting stories. He waited until he was married to his 39-40. Just a great ceremony. Great ceremony in Oregon. And what was I going to say there? Okay. His wife Jessica was a nurse. She wanted to become a nurse anesthetist. They moved to California. She became a nurse anesthetist. Their first job offer was for $180,000 in Hawaii. So they've been living in Hawaii now, I'm trying to remember, 6-7 years, or something like that. Todd has done a really good job with with HART, the Honolulu Area Transportation Authority. And they're both outdoors people, canoeing, kayaking, you name it. If it's an outdoor sport, they're like 2 peas in a pod. And I often say that Todd may be the happiest camper on the planet. He never met a stranger, and I'm a little bit jealous of him, to be honest with you. He's got more friends than Carter's got liver pills. So that's my oldest son, and then my middle son Scott, who I'm going to visit. Was with the same company for 25 years. Was the I forget his exact title, but basically was the director of operations for the largest collection agency in the country. And they got acquired, and he got merged out, and he accepted a similar job in Johnson City, Tennessee, which he's not crazy about, but another big company, and he's just doing a bang-up job. Last but not least, my son Cameron H, which stands for Hutley and Hershey. So we didn't offend either side of the family. And Cameron is a self-employed entrepreneur in the computer-related business. Actually, what he does is he works with companies like Gillette, north of Boston, and he picks up all their outdated computers and fax machines and telephone systems and recycles them or reconditions them or whatever, and he's built himself a nice little business there. And his wife Marcus, they worked side by side for a company before they ended up getting married, and she's currently the #1 realtor in Coldwell Banker and in New England. So I've got 3 sons that have their feet on the ground, they're comfortable financially. Cameron and Margus have 2 daughters who, unfortunately, I have had very little opportunity to spend much time with. So in a nutshell, that's my family. My other family is AA, because my 3 sons are spread all over the place. So, where do I go from here? Well, I go around a really big S-curve. This is not the easiest drive, but it's a pretty drive. It's kind of hard to look at my notes here. Anyhow, a little background. I was born in Medford, Massachusetts. Grew up in a small honky-tonk town in upstate New York, Carthage, New York, on the Black River, a paper mill town. Not too far from Watertown, New York, which is kind of the kingpin of the snow belt, not far from the St. Lawrence River and the Canadian border. As a kid, had a lot of fun there, fishing with my uncle, duck hunting in the middle of the St. Lawrence River. Some good times, particularly around Thanksgiving. Every year we go duck hunting. And what else? As a kid, I guess I did all the normal things. You know, I was a Cub Scout. I never made it to Boy Scouts. Went to Beaver Camp for boys. And my brother's got a big kick out of it because I still have got certificates for outstanding camper of the year and archery and horseback riding and all kinds of stuff like that. I don't know if I still have them, but I saved them for years and years and years. And truth of the matter is, I was, myself and my brother, we were all kind of spoiled. Not kind of spoiled, we were spoiled. Okay, we had an opportunity to spend, I forget what it was, 12 or 15 years on Nantucket Island, and shoot, we had a house that was right on the harbor overlooking all the boats, and able to watch the steamships, not steamships, but the ferries come in and dock, not too far from where we were, which we could see through the big picture window. And I need to pay attention here. A missed turn. We're going through downtown. I forget the name of the town. And pretty soon we'll be in Red Hill. Johnson City's about 35 miles from here. And let's see. I was saying I was spoiled. Nantucket Island. My first job was driving a milk truck. It was a wholesale milk truck. I think I made more money in the summers, like the 2, 3, 4 years that I worked there, that I did my first job with the Scott Paper Company. Great job. Started at 6 o'clock in the morning, be done at 12:30. Had the rest of the day to go sailing, to play golf, to play tennis. Really, just totally blessed. And further blessings are. Talking of being spoiled, I went to a private school, Western, all-boys school, Western Massachusetts. And my dad and my uncle and 2 cousins all went to Dartmouth. So the natural thing for me to do was to go to Dartmouth. Won't tell you a lot about that, except that I was not the best student in the class, okay? I majored in social life, fraternity life, and a lot of partying. I did play lacrosse. I was captain of the freshman lacrosse team. Played a couple of years of varsity lacrosse, but because of an incident in a football game where I had been imbibing, I ended up on automatic probation, and I was not able to play my last year. Okay. Anyhow, that's my Dartmouth career. My first job out of college was in Denver with the Scott Paper Company, and I was selling toilet paper, Scotty's paper napkins, paper towels, and Baby Scott flushable diapers. That was fun. Used to have a big briefcase with a fishbowl with plastic wrap around the top, and we do a demonstration. Okay, we just dunk the flushable diapers in the in the fishbowl and demonstrate how they disintegrated. Unfortunately, Procter & Gamble came in with their Pampers and killed us. But it was, it was an experience, and I was kind of the director of marketing for the test market at the time. Subsequent to that, I actually worked with my dad for a couple of years in the paper business. Lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Traveled 3 states. And my dad and I didn't have the greatest relationship, to be honest with you. And I ended up going to work for a competitor in Boston, in Medford, Massachusetts, Container Corporation of America. And as it turned out, my grandfather's house was only about 4 or 5 blocks from the office that I worked in. Subsequent to that, I was in the financial planning / life insurance business. Did pretty well there. Kind of alluded to it before. I was number 7 out of 1,008. This was my first year. Probably made more money than I deserved to make. But it was a great experience. And then speeding up a little bit, ended up moving from actually Marblehead, Massachusetts, which was kind of where all recently divorced people gathered, and I was there for 3 years. And I ended up moving to Florida with the 20-year-old girl that I referred to before I went off on a tangent for 10 years, let's call it. And once again, I got to make sure that I stay on 226 North here. My buddy Jack lives about 5 minutes from here. In fact, Jack's going to meet me in Johnson City and go to Gatlinburg in that area for 2.5 days. So that kind of covers my career. No, actually, it doesn't. Didn't know what I was going to do when I moved to Florida. Ended up getting the telecommunications business. That was kind of right after AT&T broke up, and I sold business telephone systems, discounted long distance for a number of years. Started my own company called Straight Talk Communications, long before Walmart grabbed the name Straight Talk. Anyhow, that business was good to me. When I started selling long distance, AT&T was getting 34 cents a minute. Well, when it got down to 9 cents a minute, the money was gone, and that's when I got out of that business. And subsequent to that, I brokered expensive yachts, okay? $100,000, $500,000, $600,000 yachts for a number of years. And then Washington, D.C. put a 10% surtax on boats over $100,000. That killed that market. So I went from water yachts to land yachts. And I sold $100,000, $500,000 RVs for a number of years. Before a licensed mental health counselor and a certified addiction counselor confronted me. She didn't actually confront me, but she said, Bruce, you got a big ego. You think too much about yourself, about me. And I did. And she said, hey, Salvation Army's looking for some help on their front desk on the weekends. So you would be screening people that want to come into the homeless shelter. So I did that. And wow, was that an experience. And of course, virtually everybody that came into the homeless shelter had challenges with alcohol and drugs and mental health issues too. And they had a drug and alcohol program there called the VIP program. And I was involved in that. And then one day the manager said, Bruce, you're pretty good at that. Did you ever think of getting certified as an alcohol and drug counselor? Ultimately, I did. Went back to school, got certified, ended up owning a small drug and alcohol agency for a number of years. That was probably the most satisfying thing I ever did. Facilitated a lot of DUI offender classes, drug offender classes. We had a group of about 35 doctors and dentists and nurses that had to come in once a week. And, it didn't happen all the time, but every now and then somebody would come up and say, Bruce, thank you. I stopped drinking. My wife stopped drinking. We're not doing drugs anymore, and you saved our marriage. And you can't put a dollar value on that, okay? it feels really good to help other people and make a difference. So that was my experience as a certified addiction counselor. And subsequent to that, I ended up getting married after being single for 18 years, moving to North Carolina. That turned out to be a horrendous mistake, and I knew it a week later. I hadn't smoked for 15 years. I smoked for 15 years, and I started smoking the next week. I did give it up for a year while we were together, and after our last argument, I went down the mountain and bought a pack of cigarettes. I've been smoking ever since. Just haven't been able to kick it. It was a whole lot easier to kick alcohol than cigarettes. So let's see where I am. This is turning out to be quite a video movie almost. Okay, I just covered the mistake. Moved to North Carolina. I got licensed just under the wire. Became a North Carolina real estate broker, which meant that I didn't have to work for another broker. I could be self-employed. Timing was awful. The market in Florida crashed in 2007-8. It was a little later in North Carolina, but I ended up losing a tenant of my condo in Florida. At the same time, the real estate market was crashing. I belonged to 2 real estate boards, and I was going nowhere fast, so I had to shut down that business. But it was an experience. It was an experience. I made a little money before I had to shut it down. Not much, but anyhow, at that point, in 2008, I really lost my shirt and my pants in the real estate market in South Florida and the stock market, and that represented a significant amount of assets that I had hoped to have for my retirement. Okay, so at that point, I got involved in the MLM industry, and I won't bore you with all the details there, except to say that over the course of 6, I was involved in more MLMs than I care to admit. And the last one, I was expecting a check middle of the next week for $10,000+, and the FBI and the Federal Trade Commission came in the previous Thursday, shut down the company, seized all the assets, so I never saw a penny of that money. And it was that point where I said, hey, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. I ain't never ever getting involved again in an MLM. In retrospect, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. Well, I did the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I did make a little money. I learned a lot. And without that, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today, but that's a video for another time. So, actually, in August in this year, I got involved in a brand new industry, and I'm having a ball. I'm having fun. I'm making a difference. I'm saving homeowners and businesses money, and I'm starting to make a little money. And the first quarter of 2017 should be a very remunerative. Should be a good quarter. Okay. In summary, I'm a very blessed guy, and as I say that, you can't see it, but I'm kind of choking up a little bit. Part of my morning routine is going through a meditation and prayer process. Okay, and I started off by saying, God, I know that I'm only here to love, to serve, to give back what I can, and to make a difference where I can. And I go on to say that, I no longer have to worry about what to do, where to go, who to see, or what to say, because I know you'll guide me. In fact, I'm content to be or go wherever you wish, knowing that you go with me, and that I will be healed, as I help others to heal. That's the reason for this day. I'm grateful, and then I go through a whole gratitude list. I won't go into a whole lot of detail, except grateful for my 10.5-year-old white German Shepherd that died on Mother's Day Grateful for my new rescue dog, Micah. Grateful for my log cabin, all knotty pine and stone fireplace inside. Good-sized duck pond outside my deck. Grateful for my friends, both in and AA. Particularly grateful for my 3 sons, my 5 granddaughters and grandson. Grateful for my car. Grateful for my mom and dad and the opportunities they provided me. Grateful for my English brother's moral support and financial support at times. Most grateful for being introduced to AA and the rooms and the different types of meetings and the fellowship and the literature, but most of all the spiritual journey that I've been on for almost 28 years, which has led to the relationship that I feel that I have now with the God of my understanding. So, with that being said, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I hope you all enjoy the holiday season. I want to wish you a healthy, happy, prosperous New Year. And last but not least, I can't go without saying, and giving a little pitch for myself. If you'd like to know what I'm doing for a living now, where I'm getting so much satisfaction and having results like I've never had before online, you can go to facebook.com/the solar guy. That's facebook.com/the solar guy. So, with that being said, it is Monday afternoon on the 12th of December, and that's a wrap. Until the next time, if you watch this whole video, I don't know what to say. But hey, if you'd like to talk to me, incidentally, for whatever reason, if you just want to talk, okay, I have a toll-free number. And that toll-free number is 800-809-4549. 800-809-4549. Pick up the phone and call me. Let's just talk. For whatever you want to talk about. All right. I like people. I have some great conversations with people all over the country, and in Australia and Canada and a number of places in Europe, on Skype and whatnot. So, again, that's a wrap. Until the next time, hope you had a great day. Bye.